Today, on the Bangarang, we have Pierre Poillievre in the Parliament trashing Trudeau, like usual. It's gold, guys. And also, we have Trump talking about tariffing Canada and Mexico. Not good. Got to get our border under control, guys. You don't want to miss it. So, we all know about the riots. We all know about the Swift concert. We all know about the replies, okay? Check my last videos. Check my last videos. Hey, you might have seen it on some other channels. You might have seen it on some other news. Go get my take on it. Okay? My take's cool. Okay? I'm smart. I'm smart. Smart. Not an expert, but I'm good. Okay? Trudeau comes out with his just stupid tweet about it. Okay? And Pierre's gonna fuck him up. Okay? I feel bad, kind of. Okay? Here we have it. Let me tell you Trudeau's tweet first. This is Trudeau half a day after the riots, okay? What we saw in the streets of Montreal last night was appalling. Acts of anti-Semitism, intimidation, and violence must be condemned wherever we see them. Remember that? The word condemned? No, you don't remember that. Go back there. Watch the video. Go back and watch the video. Okay? He's an idiot. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not hearing the rest of his tweet. Okay? This is what Pierre says. You act surprised. We are reaping what you sowed. This is what happens when a prime minister spends 9 years pushing toxic, woke identity politics, dividing and subdividing people by race, gender, vaccine status, religion, region, age, wealth, etc. On top of driving people apart, you systematically break what used to bring us together, saying Canada is a post-national state with no core identity. That's real nasty. That's fucking not cool, man. You erased our veterans and military, the famous five, and even Terry Fox from our passport, and replaced them with meaningless squirrels, snowflakes, and a drawing of yourself swimming as a boy. You opened the borders to terrorists, lawbreakers, and called anyone who questioned it racist. You send out your MPs to say one thing in a mosque and the opposite in a synagogue. One thing in a mandir and the opposite in a gurdwara. He does his research. I don't know what the fuck those are. You've made Canada a playground for foreign interference. You allowed Iran's IRGC terrorists to legally operate here for 4 years after they murdered 55 of our own citizens in a major unprovoked attack. You passed laws that released rampant offenders from prison within hours of their 80th arrest. I imagine that's probably true of a couple of them, especially in BC. I don't know if you guys heard about Pierre talk about BC. 3 people commit like 300 crimes. And what is the result? Assassinations on Canadian soil, firebombings of synagogues, extremist violence against mandirs and gurdwaras, over 100 churches burned and vandalized, and barely any condemnation from you. All for a total of 251% rise in hate crime. And while you were dancing, Montreal was burning. We won't let you divide us anymore. Call an election now. We will fire you and reclaim our citizenship, our values, our lives, our freedom, and most of all, our country. That is an epic tweet. Oh, I feel it in my bones. Trudeau is... What is there even left to say about that guy? Is there anything that I can say that anyone doesn't know anymore? He's measles on fleas on rats. All right? It was measles on fleas on rats. Okay? Next, I'm going to bring you over to question period. This was it's Tuesday. I think this was yesterday. Pierre just roasting. Of course, Trudeau wasn't there.
Food prices 37% fast.
So the squeaky window cleaner got to take the brunt of all of this nasty.
In Canada than in the United States, with inflationary carbon taxes and deficit spending. The Prime Minister now has a tiny 2-month tax trick that will save you 10 cents on a pack of chips, save you a few pennies on a Christmas tree, but only after your Christmas tree is already up and decorated.
I kind of secretly am okay with that. Don't tell anyone. I'm freaking broke, man.
You'll even save on Halloween costumes 2 months after Halloween.
It's not getting my vote, though.
Does he really expect Canadians to fall for this tiny tax trick just before he quadruples the carbon tax on heat, homes, gas, and groceries?
Axe the carbon tax.
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really glad the Leader of the Opposition started by comparing our economic position with the U.S. Because the fact is, in Canada, inflation is lower. In Canada, interest rates are lower. In Canada, deficits are lower. And in Canada, the public debt is lower. Let's stop talking Canada down. And when it
the only thing I believe about that is the debt is lower.
Canadians,
what I
want to know is, will Conservative MPs be allowed to offer a tax break? I know their constituents want it. That's what we're hearing from them.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This is stupid. That's the problem with the Liberals, though. That's the problem with the Liberals, period. Is just, oh, you're in trouble, here's some money. You know what I mean? Like, that's, where has that ever worked? You're in trouble, here's some money. Well, you're addicted to drugs, here's some drugs. It's never worked anywhere. It's never worked anywhere. But these guys specifically are doing, this is their plan, man. And they're going to reign, I've been saying this all year. The election, come the election time, we will be getting gold from Justin Trudeau. He will run the streets, fucking raining all the gold coins all over us like Robin Hood. Oh, he will. He will. This is not going to be the last time he gives us money. Mark my word.
Speaker, this from a minister who, after finding out that the economy is entering its 6th consecutive quarter of shrinking per capita GDP, that's income per person down, while the American income per person is up. After she learned that there are 2 million people lined up at food banks, 38% more chronic homelessness, 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario after 9 years of this government. She says we're not in a recession, we're in a vibe session, she says. So what's her message to people who are hungry and homeless after 9 years of her government? They just need to get with the vibe?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Like, why is Canada's Kamala Harris talking about vibes, man?
My message to the Leader of the Conservatives is to be a little more economically literate.
You fucking idiot. Oh, fuck, man. What a dumbass. What a dumbass. Speaking of that, you guys know the pleb? Let's go check out the pleb. I would rather shout out bigger YouTubers, bigger Twitter profiles or personalities than mainstream media. Honestly, Power Play has Vashi is one of the, has, in my opinion, out of all of North America, probably the most respected journalist. I don't mean yeah, I guess that was the wrong word. She is the only journalist out of any mainstream media in all of North America that calls things down the middle. Okay? So I will give her a shot, but that's it. I would rather give you guys news from the pleb, even though you've seen it already probably. Look at this though. Actually, I'm showing you the pleb because I don't know where he found this. Pierre's polling numbers surge following Trump's landslide victory. I don't think that it was Trump's victory that did this. But wow. Guess where all those votes came from? Those votes all came from orange and red. Come October, okay, we're not going to have a Liberal Party. We're either not going to have a Liberal Party or an NDP party. One of those two are destroyed because of woke. Woke is going to destroy one of these parties. It's going to be monumental and historic. Okay, we can't just cover all the historicness of America and Trump's campaign. We're also going to be breaking records up here, first times. Okay, the Conservative Party is the most popular it's ever been. I think it's 47%. I think is the highest a Conservative Party has ever gotten, period, ever. Okay, if you look at the trends, there's not even a Liberal Party out west. Ontario doesn't have a Liberal Party anymore. Remember Kathleen Wynne crushed it? And then they had another election. Doug Ford got 84% or something like that. Right? He's not going to get that again. But all that's left is out east. Maybe. It's crazy. Justin Trudeau might kill the Liberal Party after it was already dead. He picked up the dead carcass and ended up having sex with it, is what he did. So moving on. You guys know Tim Pool? You guys watch Tim Pool? You don't? You should. That dude is awesome. He covered last night Trump's 25% tariffs. I was going to cover it news style, but I kind of... This is said so perfectly, and I'll chime in too. So let's react to the news of Donald Trump putting tariffs on Canada, which
story from Reuters.
You can't agree with
Trump
it, but
Trump pledges 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, deeper tariffs on China. So this story was breaking just a few hours ago. Donald Trump posted, on January 20th, as one of the many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. Trump said the tariffs would remain in place until the two countries clamp down on drugs, particularly fentanyl, and migrants.
And you know what Trudeau's going to do?
Illegal.
You know what Trudeau's going to do? He's going to put tariffs back on. He's going to put tariffs on the United States. Instead of dealing with the migration problem at the border, he's going to end up doing retaliatory tariffs.
On China, the president-elect accused Beijing of not taking strong enough action to stop the flow of illicit drugs crossing the U.S. border from the U.S. Into the U.S. from Mexico. Until such time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States, Trump said. Trump has previously pledged to end China's most favored nation trading status and slap tariffs on Chinese imports.
They're going to talk about the inflation part in a minute because that's what everyone's worried about.
I gotta say, based AF, I'm very excited for this, and I look forward to seeing how it plays out.
Wow.
Now, the only thing I could say, just because I'm Canadian and I'm biased, I think we should get a 5% tariff because we're like 20 million illegal migrants didn't come in through the northern border.
Raised the price of everything by 25%.
Yep. Well, that's right. I mean, everything.
Yeah, nothing could go wrong with that.
So,
I mean, inflation. Anybody familiar with inflation?
See this guy right here?
I was really critical of Trump in his first term when he talked about when everyone was talking about a trade war, right? And the trade war.
The thing is, trade war. Okay, how do you do a trade war? Okay, you do 25% tariffs. You keep the income tax, and you do 25% tariffs, right? So what I think is going to happen if Trump goes abolishing income tax, that is going to force a lot of other countries, I think, to get rid of their income tax and tariff the states. right? I am for tariffs, okay? Because if you think about it like this, if I want to sell my product in the States, that's kind of a privilege for me. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what China does. That is exactly what China does. If you want to sell product in China, you're getting tariffed. You're getting tariffed really, really bad. A lot of businesses can't do business in China because it's so badly tariffed, right? Because 1.3 billion people. If you don't have access to China and you're $1 billion company, China is going to more than double your top line, right? So it's a privilege to get into the Chinese market. It should be a privilege to get into the Canadian market, right? And then smaller countries like Canada, we might not be able to tariff people as high because our low population isn't really that special. Okay, it doesn't mean that much. Also, Canada's distribution is absolutely horrendous.
Or never materialized. We never had the negative consequences that we were told were going to happen when Donald Trump comes and gets in office and there's a trade war, because the trade war never happened, right?
That's right. The trade war also never happened. People always say, well, the trade war happened with Canada. We tariffed a lot of American goods, but think about this. You put a 25% tariff on products, they go up 25%, but you lost all your income tax, right? So I think they're saying, I think the numbers is $1,600 a year extra on an American, but they're getting taxed tens of thousands, probably close to $20,000-$30,000 a year on their checks. I would give a crap about inflation at that point.
This is so the complaints about these tariffs is just first order thinking.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Listen to this.
Mexico and Canada are going to say, please, for the love of God, no. What do we have to do to stop this? And then Trump's going to say, I want these concessions, and then the tariffs never materialize.
Yeah.
The concessions should be that.
Unfortunately, what I think instead is Trudeau's going to be like, I can stand up to Trump. I'm going to tariff him. Like, instead of just making sure illegal border crossings don't happen. Watched. You heard it at the Bangarang.
I like that idea. Territorial.
It's beautiful, man. I just got back from a trip up there, dude. It's awesome.
Well, the big problem is that if they don't materialize, fine. It's a trade negotiation.
So this guy's
But,
on the side of
imposed
inflation.
tariffs.
No tariffs.
It's one of the many factors that drove inflation.
So
You
what?
look at Chinese goods and
Watch, like Tim Pool's going to screw this guy right up.
almost anything you buy from over there. Which, if you say you don't buy them, you got a phone in front of you.
Sure.
Sorry, you do.
Well, this is made in Korea.
Okay.
See?
I think actually iPhones are China.
My phone's
I
made in
think
Korea as well.
Androids, well, actually, some Androids are made in China.
And we're,
Actually, my phone that I don't
Sonic
use.
makes
I use my phone to
Oh, that's
record.
awesome.
I got a phone for
But-
recording
But
until
you know, of course,
YouTube can monetize me.
Negotiation and trying to close the borders down and make sure we're holding tight. But sorry, I'm not a tariffs guy.
But no,
Never
I don't
have
support
been.
slavery, so
And
I don't do the
and
phone.
no Austrian economist will make that argument.
No, it's
Sorry.
And look, like I have a lot of libertarian leanings in my past. There was a time where I called myself a libertarian, and that's exactly how I thought of it when they were talking about the trade
The
war.
red
I was
pilling
like,
of
this is
Phil
bad
Labonte.
news. All the people that I listen to
Coming next week.
and read stuff about, they all said this is a bad deal, and like I said, it never materialized. So all I can say is if this was when the first time I was thinking, oh, this is what the Austrians tell me, and I agree. Maybe, and I was wrong, and I was proven
It's
to
a
be
bit of a
wrong.
long
So
segment, guys.
again, I'm not an economist, and I don't
So,
know what's going to happen. But I would at the very least say, I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt this time because it was fine last time.
Let's start here. Do you know how skateboards are made?
No, not
So,
a skateboard expert. That's
Just because we make skateboards and I've been skateboarding my whole life. I
This
know
is a perfect example. This is why I
skateboards are
picked
made
this.
Of North American rock maple, either coming from the U.S., usually from Canada. They don't make the skateboards here. They take the wood, they chop the trees down, put them on big shipping containers, and send them to China, where Chinese laborers for dirt slave labor costs turn them into skateboards, then putting on big cargo ships and sending them back to the United States. I never understood why that made sense. That's actually consuming more energy and more wasteful. But it's okay because the Chinese laborers work for 50 cents an hour. So you
How, like, how are people, how can you say climate change isn't a hoax when these globalists that do these things are doing this? Why is there avocados in Canada if there's a climate crisis? Why is it more logical to ship wood to fucking China, have them make something and bring it back if there's a climate crisis?
you can get a skateboard for cheaper so long as it's made by Chinese slave labor. The problem? The American companies that used to make skateboards go out of business, and now people can't afford skateboards anymore. Skateboards end up costing $80 for a pro model where they used to cost $55, and it's because the companies that used to make them locally and could get them to you easily, and the people whose lives were sustained and supported doing it.
And you know what? And you know what? This is the kind of thing. This is what's going to get Trump on Mount Rushmore. Okay? Ha ha ha! Laugh. Watch. Every Western country is going to start building its own domestic manufacturing again because it'll be forced to. Trump will turn the West, the whole West, into a tariff-based economy, into tariff-based economies, and everyone will have to start building their own stuff to compete with tariffs.
What really, really bothers me largely
This is the
about
whole
the
point of his
shipping
tariffs.
of skateboarding manufacturing in China is that basically skateboarding is dead in this country. What is now an Olympic sport, which used to be a massive multi-billion-dollar industry, is watching massive collapse across the board. One of the reasons, I think, is that all of it was outsourced to China. The people who worked in the industry, who would make the products, lost their jobs. Now they're not working in skateboarding, advocating for skateboarding, doing sponsorships and promos. They're just out of work. Ain't no Chinese factory is going to come to the United States and put on a skate demo for kids to get them to buy skateboards. So what ends up happening is all of these factories start going under, and now our culture, our economy, and everything is worse off for it. It's an addiction.
So I'm going to put it to an end there and start my rant because we're getting along here. See, and doesn't that make you kind of think that this was orchestrated a long time ago? I remember back in the early thousands, there was globalist riots because globalism was starting to take over Europe, and people were rioting about it. Like, do you not think that maybe that this is the case all along? I honestly think that this has been going on for decades, and this is like the final chapter of it. I think so. I really... You buff that shit out. I really think that's where it's going. Or I really think that's where it was going, and now Trump is really going to burn it all down, and they're gonna have to take another century to go back at it. Awesome. Look at it. NDP wanted to take GST off of a whole bunch of new products. Pierre talking about no tax on overtime. You think that's not going to come with no tax on tips? You think that's not going to come with an extreme reduction of income tax? The only way that we're going to be able to compete with America is domestic manufacturing and selling to Canadians. Right? It might actually fix Canada. Guys, come back here tomorrow, like and subscribe, send a comment down below. I would like to know what to make. I would like to know what your take is on tariffs, because it's going to be a really hot topic next year as everything starts getting rolled out, especially with Europe. It's the Bangarang. Peace out.